What's no longer worth it because of how expensive, what's no longer worth it because of how expensive it has become?
Houses, owning a home.
Everything.
Also everything. Well, some things are still worth it no matter how expensive they get.
So according to this list here, we have all fast food. Used to be you could at least rationalize it as a cheap treat, but now it's just as expensive as higher end, fresh ingredient places with the same garbage quality in smaller portions.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not going to say that Chick-fil-A is garbage quality, but I will say that Chick-fil-A, my eyes have been open to Chick-fil-A since you made that video the other day with the peanut oil. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so about that. But last night when we got Chick-fil-A, after we tried to go get pizza and that didn't work out, and then we tried to get sushi and that didn't work out, then we tried to get Olive Garden and that didn't work out. So we ended up at Chick-fil-A and I was like, $9.45 for an entree.
Yeah, they're expensive now.
They are.
They're very expensive.
That was unreal. I mean, it was okay. Quality. It's Chick-fil-A.
Well, you got to think. You go there and you try to get 4 breakfast minis and a hash brown and a drink. You're at $9, like
and
breakfast.
And their chicken biscuits
and
are
it's 4
smaller
nuggets
now than they used to be.
Oh yeah, very much.
Unless you get the egg and cheese and they put it on a bigger chicken biscuit, which I don't know how they have different ones. They say thrifting has become crazy expensive. All of the thrift stores I used to go to have increased prices on top of the garbage sales. Of that, garbage sales are crazy. My favorite is pulling up to.
Garage.
My favorite is pulling up to a garage sale and see the owners have just printed out random listings from eBay. No, Bob, I'm not going to pay $100 for a microwave from 2010 because I sold it for that on eBay 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's not how it works.
Goodwill has lost their damn mind lately. They have forgotten that they are a dumpster that people pay them for the privilege to dive in, not a boutique store.
That's true. They get their stuff for free and they turn around and sell it for profit. I mean, who else does that?
I don't dump garbage, but I do bring them stuff that I'm like,
what else are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I take a lot of clothing and stuff to like Plato's Closet because they will pay me for what they want, and what they don't want, then I will go donate to other places. But it's still, even I'm donating a $60 pair of Nike pants to Goodwill. They're going to turn around and either keep them themselves, depending on who's working the drop off, or they're going to turn around and try to sell them for $20 to somebody. But even that has become not a cheap way to go shop.
Doritos, $6.99 USD, WTF.
Well, that's why unless chips are buy one, get one free or 2 for something, and I can sit there and look at it and kind of price it out and see what it would have been without the sale, we don't have chips.
How everything is now a subscription. Okay, I guess I don't need it.
New York Times, Washington Post, Daily Mail, all these things are slowly, soon, next thing you know, Yahoo will be a paid subscription.
It says, I also hate how you need a login for everything now. I don't want an account. I just want to buy a shirt.
Yes, that too. Would you like to continue as guest? Yes. All right, well, we're going to need your blood type, your firstborn, social security number, all these different things.
So it's like, and 2-factor authentication.
And then they say, and then there's no way for you to track anything. So if you're not going to sign in, log in, give us all your information, you'll never know if we've shipped it. You'll never know if it's lost.
But with that being said, I wanted to remind folks that Patreon is free. Mm-hmm. You can choose to pay if you want and support, but you can sign up for free, and there's a free chat going on over there. If you're not there, I don't know why you're not. Next one here says ordering delivery used to be same price as ordering in person with a small fee and tip per item. Now most places have signed with a service, so they no longer do it themselves, and now you have to go through their brain malfunction on this. Now you have to go through DoorDash or Uber Eats. I didn't proofread this.
Yeah.
Yeah, box cereal. Box cereal was always a ripoff, so I'm sorry.
Well, it's like the one time back in Georgia, the kid and I wanted pizza and we wanted Little Caesars. So we ordered Little Caesars and it says delivery, but they don't tell you that they don't deliver it like Papa John's delivers, Pizza Hut delivers. They third-partied it out to Uber Eats or DoorDash, and some random lady with 3 kids in her car showed up with my box of pizza, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable eating this. And I know that's not nice, but you don't know what people have done. And you've seen what people have done to foods.
I saw how Pete Davidson was delivering.
In the movie. Yeah, you see what people do to these foods, and it makes it very... I won't order Uber Eats or DoorDash. I'd rather be hungry.
This one will definitely hit home. Foot long sweet onion teriyaki from Subway and a normal drink was $14 at Subway yesterday in Miami. I'm done with them forever.
Footlongs used to be $7. They were $5, then they were $6, then they were $7, and then it was almost impossible to eat there.
Now, this is not just us going down memory lane and reminiscing on old prices. There's a point to this.
Okay.
We're going to get there.
I'm ready.
Bear with me.
Okay.
Those who actually had their jobs replaced by AI, what was the job? What replaced it? What do you do now? You should be able to guess what the first one is. I'll give you 3 guesses.
I'm going to say probably receptionist, answering phones, that kind of thing. Like call center stuff.
Guess number 2.
Guess number 2, order picking.
Number
in like
3.
warehouses or whatever. Number 3, social media, movie making, social media stuff.
Honestly, after I said you were going to get it, I thought, no, you're going to say checkout, cashier at Walmart, self-checkout. Technically, AI kind of replaced you, but the customer replaced you.
Yeah.
But the third one is pretty close. Video editor. A video editor for several smaller YouTubers. My job was basically to turn videos into shorts and add those captions with emojis. What replaced it? Tools like VSub.io with speech detection and auto captioning. What I do now? Still video editing, but focus more on long form video. Had to stop freelancing and get a job. That's life, I guess. So, yeah, AI can only edit so much. I actually watched the Joshua Mayo video, sort of, where he was showing you how Journey with the Hintons also showed you how you can get AI to create videos by giving it prompts, which I didn't know Joshua Mayo's name isn't actually Joshua Mayo, and Ed from Film Booth actually leaked his real name on a community post that I saw yesterday.
Ooh.
So,
accidentally?
But it's a good name. Joshua Mayo is like, it's catchy.
Yeah, but some people don't want your real name out there because then you can Google it and find all kinds of stuff and where they live.
Ed, if you're watching, which you're probably not, you have Joshua Mayo's real name on your community post and you probably don't even know it. But there is AI that can edit for you, but they can't do it very well. But if it's just shorts, maybe. But this long form or AI prompts to make videos or this new dream screen that YouTube's rolling out, it's not going to be very good.
No.
It's not going to be very good. I do have ideas on how we're going to use Dream Screen, but not for the intended purposes that Neil Moen has in his head.
Okay.
Next on the list, my entire editing team was replaced by a robot that was supposed to write and edit text like a human can. They didn't test the robot first. It was terrible, and their entire project failed. No tears were shed. So that's ChatGPT, basically. And yeah, those jobs, kind of a given.
Yeah.
Worked at Amazon for a few years, did inventory basically all night. Then they installed cameras, scanners, AI, etc. Still need a human, but yeah, a lot of us were no longer needed. SBC, simple bin count, just count everything in the bin, easy is redundant. And Amazon's stores are now going to utilize RFID scanners to ring up your purchases instead of using weights on shelves and cameras around the store. They're just going to use RFIDs, which is kind of weird because how are RFIDs going to charge you through your RFID protected wallet unless your RFID protected wallet isn't actually protecting against RFID?
Well, I think even then you still have to do the palm scan. It's not going to do it through your wallet. You still have to do something to get out with your stuff.
I was a very small software development team at a relatively large company. We were often tasked with not only working on our project, but utilizing new cutting edge technologies to test whether they would be viable before rolling them out to the rest of the development teams. We were asked to start leveraging AI to help us with our development, and we gave it pretty high praise. Apparently, we talked it up too much, though, and they decided to see if they could simply bypass needing software developers and have the business analysts generate code from their requirements and then send that code straight to QA. And they didn't really test if that would work before laying off our entire dev team. And a couple of months later, they laid off the remaining members of the team because it wasn't working out. It was just one of the many bad decisions they made around that time, and they're currently struggling and losing market share because of it. I'm still working as a software engineer and use AI as a useful tool, but I'm sure to always let my supervisors and managers know what its pitfalls are and how it's just supplementing my work and not completely doing my job for me.
Think about this. You live in a nursing home or you're in a hospital or whatever else, and a robot is the one who comes in and pulls your sheets up for you at night or rubs your head. That's not going to do it. There's nothing better than human interaction in certain situations. And you go to Sam's Club and I think even Costco, but definitely Sam's Club and Walmart, you don't have a janitor anymore. You don't have a real person walking around and cleaning up spills. You have that little rotor-rooter thingy or whatever the little scooty thing is called running around and cleaning the floor the whole time.
Interestingly enough, I've read in different places that introverts were very pleased with AI because they don't like people.
Yeah, they don't want to interact with people, but introverts also probably forget that at some point AI could take their job and they don't get to interact with anything then.
So this story here actually reminds me of the writer's strike, because you could essentially get AI to write everything for you if you really wanted to.
There's been some really dumb movies that came out, and I'm wondering if ChatGPT wrote them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then also, if you're presented AI to help you do your job, you got to realize that your employer is using you to train AI. You see what I'm saying?
You think ChatGPT wrote Fast 10 because it was such a bad movie?
It probably wrote some of those one-liners from that movie with Jason Statham. What was that thing? Not Dinner. Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man.
It was pretty brutal at first.
But it was still a good movie.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. It was just So
the zingers that didn't zing.
Yeah. So I'm still working as AI is coming. AI is coming for some jobs. Coming for some paychecks. Okay. All right. So we've been through what's no longer worth it because it's too expensive. We've been through people losing their jobs to AI. You see the trend here? So now we're going to go into managing your money and budgeting, right? You have $30
Okay.
and 8 mouths to feed. What's for dinner?
Rice, beans, and chicken.
So the first one says spaghetti.
That one too.
This is why so many organizations throw spaghetti dinners as fundraisers. You can feed a lot of people for cheap. I cooked spaghetti for a church fundraiser for years. 300 plates served at $10 each for less than $500 in food. Not bad.
Not bad.
Good margin.
Yeah.
Red beans and rice. Old Dave Ramsey, beans and rice. Let's see. This one says, correction, 7 mouths to feed. I guess they're just not going to eat.
Yeah. Oh, well, because even with chicken, you're not getting a full, 4 ounces.
Or either they're not going to eat, or you can't do it with $30.
You get Chipotle style 2-ounce chicken only.
Chili and some cornbread.
Chili's not the cheapest to make though, if you're going ground turkey.
2 jars of spaghetti sauce, 10 pounds of potatoes, 2 eggs, some flour will make enough gnocchi to feed an army. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Gnocchi?
But I make spaghetti sauce with the meat and stuff, but then if we run out of noodles, I put it over rice, and that's really, really good.
So this one says, family of 7 here, $30 can go a long way. We meal plan a month out with a theme each night. For example, Monday is pasta night, and we'll plan around things like spaghetti and meatballs, chicken Alfredo, baked ziti, and capellini pomodoro.
Okay.
Tuesdays, we eat Spanish food with rice as an anchor. Chicken fajitas, cilantro lime chicken, steak fajitas, ground beef tacos. Legitimately, every meal is less than $30. If you kill off protein one night, it's about $10.
Well, they said $30 for a week, I thought, because that's $30 a night they're talking about.
It says you have $30 and 8 mouths to feed. What's for dinner? So I'm assuming it's just one night.
Okay.
And it says anchoring around certain foods really helps with planning and budgeting, as we've gotten better at budgeting this way. We've also figured out ways to eat higher quality organic foods, turn Wednesday into leftovers from Tuesday, and bulk buy proteins. Egg fried rice. I could feed 24 mouths, a decent course of my egg fried rice for $30, though ideally it'd be a prepped meal, as fried rice is better with refrigerated rice rather than freshly cooked rice.
Very true.
Slow cooker beef stew. We got options here.
When I make shredded chicken, it goes much farther, much longer than when I make grilled chicken.
Why?
I'm not quite sure.
Is it because of the portions that you then serve? Are you more liberal with the
grilled?
Yeah.
Possibly, because with shredded chicken, I can't tell how much I'm giving you really. But I also make different kinds of meals with the shredded chicken.
So moving on. Now we got a little bit of our base and foundation set.
Okay.
Axios says food companies reap record profits amid hunger crisis. Okay. But according to the FDA, I have some more information to share with you.
Okay.
Food and Drug Administration. So I will ask you, what's worse than food shortages?
Drug shortages.
Drug shortages, yeah. Did you read it?
No.
Drug shortages can occur for many reasons, including manufacturing and quality problems, delays, and discontinuations. Manufacturers provide FDA most drug shortage information, and the agency works closely with them to prevent or reduce the impact of shortages. Have you ever come across intel of a predicted drug shortage?
I actually just talked about that this morning.
You did?
I did. So a lot of people may not know it, and I can give you like the whole rundown in my video on SquirrelTribe. But the war in Israel is going to have a massive impact on
drug shortages
here.
Okay, so go watch SquirrelTribe's video after you're done watching this video. Now, speaking of Israel, following in America's footsteps.
We should be real
Specific
here. Pharmaceutical drugs as opposed to on the street corner drugs. Okay.
OTC and prescription.
There we go.
Not your street pharmacist.
There we go.
So, following in America's footsteps, many Israelis are suffering from food insecurity, having been left out of government's food stamp program.
It's going to be a lot worse now.
Many Israelis suffering from food insecurities eligible for the Interior Ministry's food stamp program struggle to sign up for it and may be left out as the application deadline approaches. You think we will, I don't know how close our ties are with Israel, but do you think they're better or worse than Ukraine?
Better.
Therefore, we should be sending them a lot of money.
You should watch my video.
I should watch your video. I should watch your video. Y'all should watch your video. Now, next here on the list. They're doing this to us on purpose, or at least that's what some people may say, right? Because I have to say that us is U.S., America, Americans, taxpayers, right? Citizens.
Depends. What are you about to say?
Because in other countries, for instance, North Korea, North Korea renovates long abandoned factory in a quest to address food shortages. North Korea has announced the opening of a fertilizer factory to support new greenhouse farm construction and help address chronic food shortages. Though satellite imagery suggests the facility is more modest than state media made it seem, in my opinion, they're at least trying, right?
Unless, of course, it's a facade.
The newly opened Nutrient Solution Fertilizer Factory is part of the Suncheon Chemical Complex, a large aging complex north of the capital that authorities have sought to revive for years. Analysts of Planet Lab satellite imagery shows that the fertilizer factory is in fact a building that has existed for decades, which sat abandoned with no roof from 2014 until one was reinstalled starting in January this year. How many abandoned buildings do we have here in America?
Oh, gosh.
That we could repurpose for future sustainability?
Well, right now, half of Portland, since everybody's leaving. Don't forget about Detroit. There's also St. Louis and Chicago. Like, there's a lot that could be repurposed, but that would involve helping the American people.
State media reported Thursday that Kim Jong-un personally oversaw the newer factory's construction to provide a material and technical foundation for producing and supplying nutrient solution to greenhouse farms to be newly built in the Western region. And Kim Jong-un officially opened a much larger phosphatic fertilizer factory across town in Suncheon in May 2020 that experts suspect could produce military use chemicals. But state media has largely ignored the facility in the years since, raising questions over its operational status.
Did I not just say facade? Because fertilizer, you know what goes into fertilizer? Ammonium, and you know what can go missing? And then there's big explosion, ammonium nitrate. It's
all speculative. Maybe they are actually. It's like, all right, let's just say they are actually trying, but then there's a nefarious reason behind it. What are we doing?
Here for our
What
own
are we
people?
doing?
They
We
ain't
ain't doing nothing.
shit. I mean, the royal we people are trying to help, but it's the ones up here that are like the little puppet strings. They're not doing anything.
the last 2 to 3 minutes of dumb money are quite possibly the most important piece of
yes.
the entire movie.
Yes,
If you read the text on the screen. It's
I agree.
Very important.
I agree. It's a very good movie.
Yes. Meg 2 is a movie that we watched, unfortunately, the other day.
gosh.
And in Meg 2, they used ammonium nitrate, which is a cheap substance that can also be used to make bombs. Fertilizer is commonly used to help farm crops grow better and make lawns greener. But one of the ingredients often employed in the manufacturing process, ammonium nitrate, is highly fickle and can feed an explosion under the right circumstances.
Do you remember a few months ago when I
Like
talked
if you need
about?
to blow up sharks.
Do you remember a few months ago when I talked about the train that started at point A and by the time it made it to point B, the 60,000 tons of ammonium nitrate that was going to a fertilizer in theory thing was completely just gone? They said it just leaked out of the bottom of the train, which is not really that feasible with what it was. And then you have this massive explosion a little bit later on somewhere else, and people are like, is that where the ammonium nitrate went? But I'm just saying.
Now, Kim Jong-un previously called for building similar large-scale greenhouse farms in all provinces. At the East Coast, Ryonpho Greenhouse Farm opening ceremony last October, which state media has claimed is the largest such facility in the world.
Oh, that's always not terrifying. If you really want to stop and think.
So,
Near the coast, it said?
yeah, I think so.
Near the coast.
Now, in comparison, I just wanted to compare it to here.
Okay.
So, New York, New York City, New York, is the largest population. Almost 9 million people.
With more being bussed there every day.
Yeah. And the Big Apple has more than twice as many people as the number 2 largest city, which is LA, Los Angeles. But not much, if any, farmland in New York City, NYC.
No.
And
I don't know where dogs go out to pee when people take them out.
On the
Sidewalk.
Concrete
I mean, it's just the
sidewalk.
concrete.
With right next to the bums.
Yes.
So, according to farmland.org and the American Farmland Trust, over 9 million acres of farmland, including some of the most productive, resilient, and versatile land in the nation, form the foundation of New York's farm economy, which generates more than $47 billion in annual economic impact and supports 160,000 jobs in the state. But it's not in New York City.
No.
So, New York State.
Yeah.
The countryside. But overall, by area, if we're going to go by area, not population, Sitka, Alaska, 2,870 square miles. Sitka is located in southeastern Alaska, and it is the biggest Alaskan settlement. It is also the only city in southeastern Alaska that faces the Pacific Ocean.
And you cannot get to it by car. You have to take a bus, a boat, or a plane.
Originally, the area was inhabited by Tlingit Indians, but then it was explored by a Russian expedition. In 1741, Old Sitka, or Fort St. Michael, was established in 1799 by Alexander Baranov, who then became the first Russian governor of Alaska. However, the fort was then destroyed by the Tlingit in 1802.
They say Russia wants Alaska back.
Today's city was founded initially as Novo Archangelsk, New Archangel. 2 years later, when Baranov moved the headquarters of the trading company, Russian-American company there, the settlement took the name of Sitka in 1867 when Alaska was acquired by the United States, and Sitka was the territorial capital until 1906.
Do you know why I know anything about Sitka?
What
It's
you got?
in the movie The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
Is that where they were?
And Betty White. Yeah, they were in Sitka.
The city had an important role in the Second World War as the U.S. government built a naval air base there, which swelled the population to nearly 40,000 people. Alongside the augment in population, Sitka thrived also in its economic activities. The principal ones are fishing, canning, lumbering, and tourism. Alongside these, Sitka is also a regional healthcare center. It is, in fact, the largest U.S. city by area, first runner-up being Juneau, Alaska, followed by Wrangell, Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, and in fifth place, Jacksonville, Florida at 747 square miles. But I would have to guess probably that none of these are the best places to grow food.
Probably not Alaska for that kind of stuff.
But if we pay attention to our enemies and how they are preparing, maybe we too could repurpose old buildings to create facilities that can help sustain our own food production, or at the very least, the inputs required for farming and food production, like fertilizer.
What's the right word? Hydroponic?
Well, I'm just thinking the fertilizer aspect.
I'm thinking the hanging growth vegetables, because people are like, you can do that.
Vertical farming.
Vertical, yeah.
So plus, this can keep costs down by keeping it in-house, like under a roof, like in a building, opposed to outdoors.
In the elements, yeah.
Outdoors and however many acres, when you could then take these buildings and build vertically. Again,
now, there are people who say that there are drawbacks to greenhouse grown things.
There's also drawbacks to running out of fertilizer.
There's that too.
All I'm saying is maybe we should be trying to do more.
Oh, I fully agree.
American made would be another perk plus benefit, and also not relying on dangerous trade agreements that could dissolve and fall apart at a moment's notice.
You should watch my video today.
So we should watch SquirrelTribe's video. The reason why I didn't watch SquirrelTribe's video is because I listened to it, but she literally just finished it, and we're recording this. So by the time this is uploaded, it's going to be hours after yours was published. So it's not like I'm just ignoring her video. It's just we're trying to manage our time here.
Yes.
But the chances of these corporations and our own government putting their greed aside for the greater good of our people, I'm not holding my breath.
No.
Now, I read about how food companies reap record profits amid hunger crisis, and the profits of select global agriculture companies has skyrocketed over the past couple of years. And they said we're in a major hunger crisis and private corporations are reaping the benefit. The largest food trading companies have the status of oligopolies, it's kind of hard to say, and have become unregulated financial institutions, according to a blistering 29-page chapter of the 2023 UNCTAD Trade and Development Report entitled Food Commodities, Corporate Profiteering, and Crises. The profits of 4 major food traders rise during periods of market volatility and during crises, notes the author. And the bottom line is more than 345 million people are facing high levels of food insecurity this year. And that's a rise of 200 million people from where we were pre-pandemic. And private companies can't necessarily solve the problem, but their unprecedented profits do seem rather distasteful all the same, according to Axios.
You know what I'm thinking, because that movie Dumb Money and the way they went about getting GameStop to do what it did, could we not as people get the food industry and every other industry to do the same thing, but in the reverse, based off of how we bought or did not buy, or how we...
Yeah, so the only way that I could potentially see that working would be if we all made our own food and or bought locally from our own farmers and growers without going through the government, without going through major retail chains.
Well, they're still through the government, even if it's local farmers, because they still have to do their thing. So they're still not going to be, like whatever. But that is one of the better options. But it's also very hard to find local farmers in certain areas because of the inability to grow things, New York City or LA and things like that, or the lack of knowledge also for a lot of people.
Or accessibility.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, some of these folks, their best option is going to be walking or taking public transportation to get somewhere to get low quality food at high prices.
Yep.
For them to travel to farms that, it's just not possible. It's not feasible. I mean, some of these people are working 2 or 3 jobs. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
This is impossible. The other one would be we just stop eating.
That's not feasible.
So, yeah, they kind of got us right where they want us.
Rock in a hard place.